Welcome to my TV kitchen. Isn't this a beautiful electric kitchen? I really like it. You know, ever since we did our baking show some time ago, we have had, a flood of requests to repeat several of the recipes that we gave you at that time. So today, I'm going to prepare marble brownies, pear upside-down cake, jam surprises, chocolate crispies, semi-sweet chocolate cookies, and vanilla refrigerator cookies. Do they sound good? They really are. Now first, I'm going to make the semi-sweet chocolate cookies. And I have started to cream the shortening and the 2 sugars in the electric mixer. You know, it's so easy to make cookies or anything that requires any beating when you have an electric mixer. The mixer really does all the work for you, and all you do is just add the ingredients to it. Now we're ready to add the beaten egg to this. All of the batters for cookies are made very much alike, so I'm only going to make one batter for you and show you how to make that, and then you can follow the recipes for the rest of the batters. And incidentally, I'd like to send you these recipes absolutely free, and I'll tell you a little later just how you can obtain these free recipes. Now I've creamed that on number 8 speed because on the back of the mixer it says use number 8 speed for creaming of the shortening and the sugar. We're ready to add the dry ingredients to this, so always turn your mixer down to number 1 speed when you add the dry ingredients. And add those all at one time. Now if you have any liquid to add, you can add first one and then the other, adding them alternately until you have added all of both. Do not let one mix in, though, before you add the other. If you do, you're likely to overmix, and that's the reason I turned it down to number 1 speed, because whenever you add the dry ingredients, you can overmix your cake or cookie if you don't turn it down to a lower speed. Now we do want some vanilla for flavoring. You know, there are many recipes for semi-sweet chocolate cookies. This happens to be my favorite. It's an easy one, and they are delicious, and it makes about 50 cookies. Now we'll add the chopped nuts, and just add the semi-sweet chocolate pieces and allow those to mix, just a minute until they get thoroughly mixed in. Not really a whole minute, though, you know. Now we'll remove the beaters. And I am finished using the mixer, so we'll put this in the back. Now, these are drop cookies. And drop cookies are very easy to make because, you know, you just drop them onto the cookie sheets and bake them. I like to make all the batters one day and then bake the cookies the next day when I'm making a lot of cookies. And, of course, you can have these cookies anytime. As a matter of fact, some of these I use for my Christmas cookies. I save all the recipes, and you can do that, and use them for Christmas cookies. Now, I have greased this cookie sheet thoroughly, and I'm going to drop these on just half of this cookie sheet. Now, you would fill the whole cookie sheet and bake all one kind of cookie at one time. But of course, we don't have very much time, and I want to show you a lot of different cookies. And because the batters are all alike, I'm not going to make those batters, as I told you before, but I am going to show you how to shape the different cookies. And each one of the cookies do have different ingredients in them, and of course, they're shaped differently. Now you see that's very easy. These bake at 375 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Now, I'm also going to show you how to make pressed cookies. These are drop cookies, and then we do have pressed cookies. So we'll fill this side with the pressed cookies. Now, first, though, I would like to show you this cookie press. And the cookie press is very nice because it has all different kinds of discs that you can put in the end and make different shaped cookies. And you can change those discs and make all kinds of cookies. Now I'm going to put the batter into this, and these are called jam surprises. They're very good too. And this batter's made just like the other. It has a little almond in it, and the recipe for this, too, is on your recipe sheet. You know, I was just thinking of a very interesting story, I think. Those little semi-sweet chocolate pieces that are in those cookies were created by a man. And the reason he created that was because his wife always asked him to help cut the little pieces of chocolate when she was making cookies. And he had the little pieces of chocolate all over the kitchen, so he decided to do something about it. And I think it was a very good idea. And these little pieces of semi-sweet chocolate are really wonderful. There, now we have that all fixed. Now, when you press the cookies, just turn this and lift up like that. That easy? You see, you can change the disc and have different kinds of cookies. Now, these are called jam surprises, so we're going to put just a little bit of jam in the center of each cookie. And I like to use a dark jam. Blackberry is the one I like to use for these. And these bake at the same temperature as the semi-sweet chocolate cookies. So you can bake them together. However, I think that you probably would bake all one kind of cookie at one time. Now, we will put these in the back and bake them just a little later because I have another kind of cookie in the oven baking. I want to prepare another kind of cookie for you. You know, we've already had the pressed cookies and the drop cookies. Now we're ready to make the refrigerator cookies. And I have a roll of the refrigerator cookies all made and in the electric refrigerator. I'd like to slice them down for you. I think that refrigerator cookies are really one of the easiest kind of cookies to make. However, I always pick easy cookies, you might notice, because I think that you like easy cookies. You make the batter very much the same way as we did for the other cookies, and then wrap it in wax paper in a roll. Oh, I would say that's about 1.5 inches in diameter. Then take a sharp knife and cut them rather thin. And this is a favorite of mine. You know, at our house, we always put a star after the cookies or the dish that's a favorite. And this one has a star after it. They bake at 350 degrees. And another reason why I particularly like this cookie is that it makes 135 cookies. Isn't that wonderful? And then after they are baked, while they are still warm, you can sprinkle them with confectioner's sugar, and they're just wonderful. Now I'll just cut a few for you, and you put those right on your cookie sheet, like this. Leave a little space always between cookies. They're easy, aren't they? And they're all ready to bake, too. So we'll put those in the back and have them ready when the others are ready to come out of the oven. Now, I do have some in the oven that I'd like you to see of these vanilla refrigerator cookies. Of course, they have vanilla in them because they are called vanilla refrigerator cookies. I have the thermostat set at 350 degrees, and that's the temperature that we needed, so we just set the thermostat, and it stays right at that temperature. Bakes just perfect. I'd like to show them to you. Ooh, they look wonderful. Ooh, do they smell good, too. See, it's very easy just to pull the rack out and take the cookies right off. Take these two off, and then I'll show them to you. I have the racks arranged so they're right in the center. In other words, I have the top rack down 1/3 from the top and the bottom rack up 1/3 from the bottom. And you can bake 2 cookie sheets full of cookies in your oven at one time because you have a nice large oven in your electric range. I'm going to bake those semi-sweet chocolate ones in just a very few minutes, so we'll set this now to 375 degrees for those semi-sweet chocolate cookies. I'd like to show these to you. Show you how nice they look. Look. Aren't they nice and brown? Each one looks exactly like the other, doesn't it? You always get those same wonderful results when you bake electrically. Now, I don't have time to take these off, so Celeste, will you please take these off and put them on a cake rack to cool? Get a hold of them now because they're hot. Thank you. Now, I do have another kind of cookie that I'd like to show you. Remember, we said we had 4 different kinds of cookies. This is another one that I think is very good, too. And it's a little unusual. It's a chocolate cookie, and you grease 2 8-inch square pans like that, and these have nuts sprinkled over the top. Then you divide your chocolate batter in half. It's not much batter because these are real thin cookies, and it's a very easy way to make a real thin chocolate cookie without rolling it out. Then spread this all over the bottom of the pan like this, over into the corners. This is very thin. And this bakes at 400 degrees for about 12 minutes. And then you cut them in squares, and you have little squares of very delicious chocolate cookies. Now we have that one ready. We can this one all around too. Way over in the corner. I know your family will put a star after this one because it is so good. And this recipe too, don't forget, is on the recipe sheet along with all of the recipes. We get all of that. Now we'll sprinkle the top of this with some chopped nuts. Just over the top. Try to divide them in half. And they are ready to bake. So we'll put these in the back too. Now, I do have some cookies all baked that I'd like to show you. I have some of those chocolate crispies and some of the other cookies because we've prepared all the cookies now. There's the chocolate crispies all baked. And look, don't they look good? See, they're a nice thin cookie. And oh, they taste so delicious too. Then we have also the refrigerator cookies. And you notice that I have, just sprinkled the top with some confectioner's sugar. Celeste, would you put those over on the serving table for me? Thank you. Now we have the semi-sweet chocolate cookies, all baked too. And they look good, don't they? And would you take that over, please, and put it on the serving table? Now, I'm not going to show you these just yet because we haven't baked these. I have another kind back here I'd like to show you. I don't want to show it to you before I bake it. I think it would be better to let you see it after I mix it. These are the jam surprises. Don't they look nice? Well, here's a whole plate full of them. You notice how nicely you can arrange them, too, on your plate. And Celeste, would you put those over on the serving table for me? Now, I believe the oven is ready for these other cookies because the light has gone out. So let's put these into the oven and bake them. You would always bake 2 trayfuls at one time, not one, but you know I only had time to fill that one. Now, they take 10 minutes to bake. You know that minute minder is just wonderful because you can set it and forget it. And then when the bell rings, you know that it is time to come and take your cookies out of the oven. Isn't that handy? Well, now I have made the 4 different kinds of cookies that I promised to make for you. And in a minute, I'm going to make the marble brownies for you. I have the ingredients for the brownies right in the back. You notice that I did take the chocolate from the top of the range. I melted the chocolate right in this saucepan or in this little skillet. And of course, on your electric range, because of the controlled heat, you don't need a double boiler. You can turn it so low that you can melt chocolate right in a saucepan or a skillet. Now for the marble brownies, you probably have had different kinds of brownies, but these are a little different too. I have white batter in this bowl, and I'm going to divide it in half. The recipe for making this too is on your recipe sheet, and it's a very easy recipe. To 1/2 of the batter, I'll add this melted chocolate. That gives me both a chocolate part and a vanilla part. Now I have greased a square pan, and I'm going to add first some of the vanilla part, then I'll skip a little space and add some more vanilla, and then we'll alternate and just put 1 dab of that there, and leave spaces just like you do when you make a marble cake. Now we've used all of the white batter. I want to add the chocolate batter to the empty spaces, and even if it runs together a little bit, we're going to cut through this so it doesn't make an awful lot of difference. You can cut through it and make the marbleized effect. Now we do with this very much like you do a marble cake. As a matter of fact, it's exactly like you do a marble cake. Just take a sharp knife and cut through like that. Then I even like to go back and cut through. Then that will give you a marbleized effect when they are baked. And that bakes at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. So we'll put this in the back too and bake it in just a very few minutes. You know, when you make cookies, you can freeze so many different things. As a matter of fact, I always like to freeze a lot of the batters and the cookies. And I have over in my electric freezer a lot of frozen batters and cookies. I'd like to show them to you. Well, I have some batters for semi-sweet chocolate cookies. I also have some of the jam surprises and the vanilla refrigerator cookies, all ready to slice and bake. Then I have some baked cookies in my electric freezer, because you can freeze the baked cookies too. I have the chocolate crispies, the vanilla refrigerator cookies, they're labeled, the marble brownies, the semi-sweet chocolate cookies, and the jam surprises. And you know what I do? Whenever I bake cookies, I save a few of them, put them in the electric freezer, and then when I entertain, I just take out an assortment of cookies and have all different kinds. No work at all. Isn't it easy when you have an electric freezer? I don't know what I'd do without a freezer. Well, now I'd like to make a cake for you, and I'm going to use the electric mixer. And I have an outlet right here in the table, so we'll plug it into that outlet. Put the beaters in first. This is a pear upside down cake. It has sort of a molasses cake part. It's very good. I have creamed the shortening and the sugar together. I'll just cream that a little bit more, and then we'll add the egg. I always like to break the egg into a custard cup so that if I get a little piece of shell, you know, I can get it out much easier in the custard cup. This is a molasses cake, so we'll add the molasses to it. I want to get all of this molasses. This recipe too is on your recipe sheet. Now I have all the dry ingredients in this bowl, and we're using sour milk for the liquid ingredients. You remember I told you to turn the mixer down to the lowest speed and add first part of the dry ingredients, and then part of the liquid ingredient, and do not let one all mix in before you add the other. Then add some more of the dry. Liquid until you have used all of both. Now we just want to get that mixed together. It smells so good. Now we'll clean these off. We're finished with the mixer, so we'll just take that back. Now I have prepared the bottom of this pan, and this of course is a round pan, and I put some butter, brown sugar, dark corn syrup, and some pears. You notice I arranged the pear sort of star fashion. Don't you think that's very attractive? And under those pears, you can't see it right now, we have some walnut halves. And this is an upside down cake, and you put the batter on top of this and bake it, and then just let it stand for about 5 minutes after you take it out of the oven. It bakes at 350 degrees for 1 hour and a quarter. And then you take it out, allow it to stand in the pan for just a couple of minutes until it has set, and then you turn it upside down and you have the pears and the walnuts on the top. See how smooth that is? Makes a nice high cake too. Now this is all ready to bake, and you know we still have the cookies in the oven. They're not quite ready to come out, so we will put this in the back and bake it just a little bit later. Of course, even when we do put it in the oven, we won't have an hour and 15 minutes to wait for it, and I did want you to see how it looks after it is baked. So I have one over here. You remember I almost showed you the marble brownies before, but I wanted to save those until the very end too. And I'd like to show you one of these marble brownies. You see, you can see the two different shades, both the vanilla and the chocolate, and the marbleized effect on the top. They're really delicious and so unusual. I know you'll enjoy having the recipe for those. Now I also have the pear cake, pear upside down cake. Doesn't that look good? Makes you very hungry, doesn't it? You see the pears, and they're those walnuts I was telling you about, and you can serve this either hot or cold, plain like this, or with whipped cream. As a matter of fact, I think it's a very good idea to cut this right down through each pear, half like that, and allow each person to have a half of a pear for that. Well, that completes our baking program, so we'll take this over and put it on the serving table. And in the meantime, we'll show you how you can get these free recipes. Ooh, don't they look wonderful? Wouldn't you be proud of those cookies? They taste good too. I'd like to show them to you. We have the chocolate crispies, the semi-sweet chocolate cookies, the jam surprises, the vanilla refrigerator cookies, the pear upside down cake, and the blonde brownies. And weren't they easy to make? And I had fun. Didn't you have fun? You'd have fun too with all your fine electric appliances, because I had fun with my fine electric appliances. Why don't you try baking these cookies? I know you'd enjoy them.